Uh, Capo. It's so easy for us to get lost, right? Lost in love. I'm a grown man, I can tell you the truth. Hey Peter, I almost fell myself. When it get cold, it get cold. Something like Canada. I guess you can feel me on that one, right?
What we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our next guest speaker for the evening. I am so glad to have this person in the building with us. Dear friend. And I can't go down the laundry list of amazing things that she does. She is a photographer. She is an apparel designer. She does brand management. She does graphic design. The list goes on and on and on and on. And I'm so pleased to have her in the building. Big up to Alien You. Thank you for joining us tonight, Alina. Can we make sure that she's unmuted? Can we hear you?
Can we hear me?
You can hear you.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the food. It's been great. I haven't finished just everything. I wanted to make sure that this interview is out of the way first.
You're smart.
To be fair, I don't do edibles as much as I probably should, based on everything that Amy said and all the health benefits. So I was like, let me just get the interview out of the way, and then we can move on to the actual food after.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I think you made the right move there. Did you get to what did you get to try? Did you get to try anything?
Not yet. So I'm just holding it off for now. This time, so the last time I went light on everything, and it was okay. So this time I want to go full force. So that's why I haven't really started on anything just yet. But I'm sure it's amazing. Shout out to the chef. He always makes the best meals. I've honestly always wanted to say thank you because it's been great trying different cuisines with you and all the different types of food that you've done in the past as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, you guys. This is awesome.
Yeah, man.
It's so great listening to you guys talk about this stuff.
Yeah, man. And like I said, we always want one of the basis things about the Heightened Chef is that we wanted to create a platform that we could use to lift everybody up. You know what I mean? So we wanted to make sure we give a chance to our good friends and family members who really have some really cool talents and skills, a place to shine. You know what I mean? So I'm glad and always positive towards having amazing people come out and show why they're amazing. And you do awesome stuff, Alina. Like, it's off the chain. Like, I don't know if y'all knew it or not, but any of the flyers or any of those things that you saw us posting for this month, that was all thanks to her. Like, those things looked awesome. You know what I'm saying? And you whipped those up in like 10 seconds flat. Like,
no, it wasn't 10 seconds, but I gotta commend you guys on the name. I love your name. I love your brand. I love the way you guys are building a community. I think having a community versus a following is very important for brands, and I'm not sure a lot of brands understand that. So you guys cultivating this, this family vibe, this family feel is super important, and I'm sure your fans, your people always understand that as well.
Yeah. I mean, it gives us a bit of an amount of leverage with the people and the crowd we work with. That I don't think you can find with just people coming in off the street. Like, you know what I mean? Just regular random people. So when we kind of tell people like, hey, this thing is good, or you know what I mean? Like, you should try this particular brand, people are more inclined to do so because they already have that level of trust with us. So
well, I had a privilege of being at one of your events. This is pre-COVID times, which feels like forever ago. And it was like walking into it, I was like, this is so crazy. There's so many people here and everybody kind of knew each other. And it was a super, it was a vibe. I'm sure we'll be getting back to that eventually, hopefully soon. And I highly recommend for whoever hasn't tried this in person to really come out and take the chance to really meet everybody in person and experience the whole event. As an event planner, I got to commend you because that event was beautifully put together.
Hey, thank you. Yo, man, it's such honor to get these kind of accolades from you because I know you do a lot of amazing stuff and you see a lot of stuff.
Thank
so
you.
It's not kind of like you're just you're novice in this field. So you have a lot of experience with dealing with different brands and different companies. And I want you to kind of maybe talk to us a little bit about that aspect of what it is that you do with the brand management and helping people do better. You know what I'm saying?
I think maybe it's better if I start from how did I get here? Because
I'm sure
for sure
know
who I am. My name is Alien Yu. I came to Canada about 14 years ago, and originally I went into nightlife, which at the time, I'm sure a lot of people here can relate, was very different. There was no social media, there was no Snapchat, there was no Instagram. It was more about going out, mingling with people, and actually meeting these people in person. Whereas nowadays, when you go to a club, it's all about bottles and, everybody has their cameras out. And I think at that time, being a part of nightlife and being on the organizing side was very interesting too, because the way you would bring people out to the events and the way you would put it together was more driven by culture, was more driven by music. And in that sense, like, you had to know people to bring them out. There was no such thing as you can go somewhere and like message people on something. Like, by the end of that time, yeah, there was BBM and stuff like that. But before that, like, you had to have numbers in your phone, like MSN Messenger. But before that, you had to really make sure that you had numbers of people. And to do that, you had to go out in person, you had to meet people, you had to network. And that was a very interesting part of marketing for me. And that's where like I got my roots in marketing, because that was the face-to-face, that was the word of mouth, that was the loyalty of people knowing that they can trust you, the integrity, and just that ability to know, like, okay, you know what, when she invites me somewhere, I really want to go there because that party is going to be awesome, or the concert is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be lit.
So I did that for about 10 years total. Anything starting from nightlife. I'm sure you guys can remember clubs like Circa, Century Room, City, Metro. Like, I can't even think of anything right now, but I've done a lot of the nightlife organization for them. Then I moved on to wedding planning because I thought it kind of
whole other ball of wax. That's a whole ball of wax.
It was, but at the time I was very young, and I felt like age didn't do me well in that industry, because it's a judgmental industry. And there was a lot of people that were more not plugged in, but sort of based on age and based on the stuff they've done, and I felt like that wasn't exactly my lane. So then I also did some of the concert organizing, and I actually switched to corporate lifestyle for a bit. I was working for an LED company. I did management there. What we would do is we would work with Toronto Hydro, and we would retrofit buildings in Toronto. That was a whole other experience of our own, of my own, because it was like learning about the energy efficiency and how long we've been living with stuff. Like, there's bulbs in the city that are from 1920s. And nowadays, like, those same bulbs that usually take out like 280 watt per like time can be replaced with a 6-watt lamp, like a bulb. So it was just really interesting to see the progression and how behind we are at the same time. And then from there, I decided that corporate life was not for me, and I decided to try entrepreneurship and kind of get back to my marketing roots. And that's when Media was born. It's a branding agency where I'm a partner in. And that's how Alien Yu was born too, to kind of use my experiences and what I've seen and what I've done, and kind of bring it in to have ideas for businesses, to have ideas for brands and stuff like that. So originally, I was actually just doing photography. And when I was doing photography, I did quite a bit of traveling. And from the traveling aspect, it was interesting to see how the same kind of businesses would market differently in different parts of the world, and what kind of audiences would kind of, how the audiences would receive it just based on where it was. So again, taking that experience and bringing it in now to doing brand consulting has been very, very, very fulfilling, and on like a soulful kind of way. Like it makes me feel good when I help small businesses. It makes me feel good when I help artists. And that's where I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm meant to do this. So that's where I'm at now.
That's amazing. It's been a crazy culmination to bring you to this point. It's like all of those things that you did along the way, it was all shaping you to come to where you are now, because I can see now, and now I understand why your pictures look so dope. And now I understand why you do the things that we do, because you've had such a broad amount of input coming in, and now you can look at things with a much broader lens, and you can kind of see like, hey, this works this here, but it might not work here, but this can, like, you can see these things. And that's why I feel like a lot of your work is so appealing, because you know how to attract a person on a lot of different levels. And now I see kind of where that comes from. So that's super cool.
Yeah, and with photography too, because I come from like a graphic background, so graphic design background, it was more interesting for me to learn photography because I learned it more from how I can edit it versus how I can shoot it. So a lot of photographers will make you pose there for 10 minutes and they're trying to get a perfect shot. For me, it's more like, let's get the shot, let's get you in a vibe, let's make sure you're feeling good, but I'm gonna edit it the way I see it. So it's just as long as we get a good amount of shots, I'll make sure that the vision that we had for that shot is already there after the fact.
Right, right. I imagine sometimes when you're working with different people, different clients, whether it be a corporate brand or whether it be an artistic brand, do you find it challenging sometimes to try and align what you may have as a vision for that person and what that person has as their vision? Do you find sometimes that it's clashing, and how do you deal with that?
That's a very, very, very good question, and I'll explain why. Because I find when people go to designers, when people go to photographers or brand consultants, they come to them with a sense of like, I already know it all, but they also need your help.
Like, I know what I want to have, right?
And it's good to have a vision, but it's also good to trust the person you're hiring, because you're hiring, since then they're the ones that have the skills. So you have to just have a level of trust. Obviously, you have to explain your vision, but there has to be trust there that this person might know something better, that this person might actually do something better for your business. Yes. And I think with the right person, they'll bring you even higher than your original vision. But there has to be that level of trust and that level of like, let them do what they can do for you and not micromanage them every step of the way, and not be like, you know what? No, I don't like that every 2 seconds and having to redo it. Just trust the process. If I can give one advice, is trust the process.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And again, like I said, I know it's tough, especially amongst creatives, because I feel like in a lot of cases, because you don't have a completely 100% tangible skill, that sometimes it's hard for people to assign the appropriate value to it. Like as a creative, Ryan, I'm sure like some of the pictures and stuff that you take, like they're valuable, but it sometimes comes across as being, oh, it's just a picture. You know what I'm saying? But there's effort in that, you know what I'm saying? And there is value to that. And so I know, Alina, it's important for you. And again, that's one of my huge things that I love about you, is that you are such a proponent and advocate for creatives to make sure that, like, again, you have in your apparel line, pay my invoice. Like, this shit ain't for free. Yeah. It's not for fun. It's not for free. I do this. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's an important thing as well. How do you find it for creatives amongst the ones that you speak to make sure that their art is given the appropriate value?
I think that comes from how you present it to people. If you present it to people that your services are not worth it, or if you're just like, you know what, let me do this for free, you set the anchor and you set that first impression that they could get that from you for free. I think part of it is knowing your worth, part of it is knowing what you could charge, and kind of explaining that to people who approach you, even if they're complimenting you, even if they want to collab. It's being able to establish those boundaries and say, you know what, I know you love my work, and here's the price for it. It's the same. I think the best way I've heard of being put before is like, you wouldn't go to Walmart and argue about the price on the sticker.
No.
So why would somebody come in and argue with the price that you set for yourself? Yeah. And that's kind of been the way that I've been trying to explain to anyone that I work with, any creators that come to me for advice. That's the best way I can describe it. And I think that's the best way you can pass it on to people you're trying to describe it to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, I mean, like, right, do you feel like sometimes when you're trying to do your creative stuff that you find it hard to assign the appropriate value? Like, people might be like, you know what, I don't want to pay your price, or where are you getting your price from? Do you find you encountering that on the creative side of what you do?
I mean, early on, for sure. Like, when I first started, people would literally try to, and I shouldn't say try, but like their expectation would be that I'm a food photographer, so like if you feed me, I'm gonna shoot everything for free. You know what I mean? And like that kind of like defeats the purpose of what I'm doing. I mean, early on, yeah, like, you know, if I was just trying to get my foot in the door or establish relationships or, help somebody out that might be brand new. They may be cooking out of their kitchen and they don't have anything to give you. Sometimes you'll make accommodations, but just like Alina said, like, you have to know your worth. And when you do start setting those precedents where you kind of make an accommodation, or you don't charge, or you're not presenting yourself as a proper business, you can find yourself in that cycle that, people are going to take you for granted. And then we also have to remember that, like, the world is like accessible by everyone, and your reputation will like really, really precede you. So, sometimes people are going to hit each other up, and they're like, what if someone's like, oh yeah, I fed Eat Famous, so just ask him to DM him, and he'll do your pictures for a bucket of chicken or something, and then like, how do you escape that, right? Or someone's like, oh, well, you did it for this guy, right? So I think it's a very important thing, and it comes with like growth and understanding your industry, and also building a strong network, because it wasn't until I found out what some of my peers were charging that I really had the confidence, despite having a large following for a long time, really understanding what I could charge, especially when you're dealing with like corporations. Like, I'm dealing with multinationals. So, like, you're going to deal with me accordingly, right?
For sure, for sure. And again, I think that's something that Alina really does well, in terms of making sure, again, like, brands that know their worth and able to market in a way that they can receive the accolades that they deserve. You know what I'm saying?
You think about the brand that we all probably know, Moët, as a champagne brand.
Yes.
Specifically, Moët, in comparison to many other champagnes, doesn't taste any different. And I'm sure there's going to be people who will fight me on it, but it does not. But the precedence for Moët was set at $300, where a regular bottle of champagne is $20. So right away, whoever's seen that price tag was like, you know what? That's what that costs. It's the more luxury. It's the more severely priced brand. So it must be great. That's the precedence. That's the anchor that, you set in your mind, and that's what it carries on. Obviously, there's accolades that the brand has other than that.
Yeah.
But it also comes with setting that price tag. And I'm always saying, set that price tag high and add tax, because I know most of the creatives really doubt themselves also. Even though we do have the accolades, we just don't feel the worth being there a lot of the time. And I can speak on that from like my end. I know for a long time I was undercharging because I just felt like, well, I want to help people and I want to be good, but at what point do you have to take care of yourself as well?
That's right. That's right.
Those
And I mean,
businesses are paying their other bills. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like if you
rest-
run yourself to ground, then you can't help anybody else.
Yeah. Like, if I'm dealing with a restaurant and they want to give me food, like, the person that sells them their ovens, they're not like, oh, I'll bake you a cake if you give me this oven, right? Or if you put the lights in. So like, you have to do it accordingly. And I think entrepreneurs, sometimes you get in the mindset that you forget that because your business may not take place in a 20-story building doesn't mean that you're not supposed to function as a business,
100%.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And I mean, I want to quickly go back to one of the things that you were just saying as well, that sometimes brands doubt themselves and don't give themselves the credit that they deserve. One of the things that I'm so proud of you for is that you are very proud of your brands and brave with your brands, like doing the photography. And talk to us a little bit about the apparel line, and then talk to us about the podcast. Like, you're out there doing it, my girl. And that's what I love. You know what I'm seeing? People putting feet to pavement, like trudging out there.
That took about 5 years for me to get here. Beyond everything else that I've done, it took about 5 years to get to this point where I could do that. But the self-doubt was definitely there, I assure you. It still is a lot of the time. I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure I want to put this out. And then it's good to have a good circle of people around you that give you that confidence when you do doubt yourself. And when I say that, I don't mean yes mans where they're just going to support anything you do, but the core amount of people that can be like, no, you know what? This is actually dope. I believe in it. You should too. Put it out,
Right. Yeah, man. And again, it shows through, because all of this stuff that you put out is at a certain level of quality. And it's always impressive. So that's the part about it that I always love. You know what I mean? When's the next capsule coming out? Talk to us about when's the next capsule. You know I'm in love with the clothes.
Thank you so much. So the next capsule was supposed to drop last month because there's been just an influx of people trying to get back to business, and I want to make myself available to the businesses, especially after a long winter, after a long shutdown. I've had to postpone, but I do think it will come out mid-July now. It's a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I just want to make myself available to the brands that do have put a lot of trust into me before and that do require my help currently.
Okay, okay. Talk to us a little bit about the new podcast. Y'all are hilarious.
Oh man. Okay,
This is my
so
favorite thing right
me
now.
and a good friend of mine, Cindy, she is a singer, she is a
Big up to
producer.
Cindy.
Yeah, she's dope too. We started a podcast and it was more about just having a conversation. So the way it started was we were having a conversation one day and there was a lot of things that were being said back and forth that I was like, you know what, this could be good to put out because a lot of people have hit me before with these exact topics, just asking my opinion, asking, you know, like what I think about it and stuff like that. And I was like, the worst that can happen is people will not listen. So how bad can it be? You know what I mean? And that's how the podcast started. And originally, like we called it Odd Ass City, which is a play on the word audacity.
Yeah.
I feel that oftentimes there's a lot of entitlement that comes with this new generation. And we kind of wanted to touch a little bit in a humorous kind of way on all the different things that we don't exactly agree on, or if there's like controversial topics that could be good to discuss and kind of see both sides of them and play like devil's advocate, so to say. So that's exactly what Audacity is. We're trying to have a conversation and kind of shed light on our opinions on things and maybe help some people out, maybe just be funny on air. Who cares? Just have fun with it.
Off the bat, y'all hilarious when you guys are in there. Like Cindy's a wild one. Like she's definitely hilarious. But I mean, the part about it that I really love is that you give that, again, that voice to creatives. You know what I mean? Where some people might just see it as, oh, she's just up there singing, that's fun. Or, oh, she's just up there taking pictures, that's only for fun. Or she's only doing graphic designs, that's only for fun. Again, nah, man. We do this. This is.
And I really just want people to know that like entrepreneurship is not glamorous. I think people online think that it's like this thing where you don't have to work all the time, you can make your own hours and like everything is blessed. And entrepreneurship is not that. Because entrepreneurship is actually not glamorous at all. If anything, we work longer hours, we don't have weekends, and we get paid way less than minimum wage for a solid amount of time before we actually get to the part where we could make our own hours. But nobody sees the years of like work that have to be put in. Everyone thinks it's an overnight success. And I find that in every industry that exists.
Yeah.
So in having this podcast too, like I'm not really a speaker on camera on my social media. I have my 1-2 rants here and there about certain topics that I feel strongly about. But with this podcast, I just really wanted to kind of shed light on the struggles also, to be like, you know what, no, I'm not out there eating caviar from like I don't know, a truffle every day type of vibe. Like there's been times where I couldn't pay my bills. There's been times where I had to borrow money, and it took a long time to get to a point of just being comfortable. I can't even say that I'm good, but I'm comfortable. And it took, like I said, I want to say about 4 years to get here of hard work.
That's what I'm saying. I think I seen it on some internet quote or something that when I charge you, when you purchase my service or my product, you're not just paying for the end result. You're paying for all the years and time of dedication and devotion and training that I put into before you bought that from me.
Exactly. And I think where people go wrong is oftentimes they think that like you can give them the blueprint and they can do it themselves. And it's like, no, I'm the sauce that puts it together, and that's what makes that blueprint come to life. And the execution is very important. And the execution part, I've learned from my mistakes, and it took 10 years to get here. But anybody else, you're not going to be able to do it the way I do, because again, it took time to learn. And that's where the amount that you charge has to reflect that. Include all the hours that you spent on your computer trying to figure it out. Include all the hours that you've gone wrong, that you were crying in a bathroom after something didn't work out. You got to include all of that into that price and make sure that you charge all of it. Because at the end of the day, I feel like every single creative does deserve that.
You're right. You're right. And I feel like creatives as an industry can't exist without that mentality, because everybody's just going to turn it into a hobby, and then we're going to lose out on probably some possibly really great things. You know what I mean? So we have to make it worthwhile for our creatives to devote their time to being creative. You know what I'm saying? That's
And
super
to be honest, without creatives, the culture wouldn't be there. Creatives is what pushes the culture forward. So it's kind of like, if you enjoy that aspect, if you enjoy the culture we create, why not help us make sure that we're good, so we can continue to be trendsetters? We can continue to show you different flexes of what's good and what's not good, and kind of just like build a vibe.
Yeah, instead of spending $400 on a bottle of Moet. Like,
Exactly.
help out a starving artist.
Support
Like,
local.
go support your boy's restaurant. Go support,
Exactly.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do that shit. Do that shit.
And on the other side too, if you're not a creative and you have spent money on, you know, Nike, Jordans, whatever the case is, and you don't feel like that's a lot, spend the same amount of money on your friend's business and see how much further it goes. Because that's where, like, small businesses really take their time to make sure that, number one, they know you personally, number two, it's tailored to you, and it's just the ability to say, like, oh yeah, I helped that business, I helped them move forward.
Yeah, man. Incredible. Incredible. Alina, what do you have coming up? Where can we find more stuff from Alien U? And like I said, we know you got a ton of stuff going on, so let us know where can we find stuff for Alien U.
Well, definitely more podcasts. Will probably be funny, maybe not. Again, take a listen. We're available.
And that's everywhere where you can get podcasts, right? It's
pretty much. Yes.
Platforms? Okay,
yes.
Wicked.
If you just search up Odd Ass City, you will find it. There's 3 episodes out currently. On the next episode, we actually have 4 corners, so that's going to be cool. Then I also am a part of a company called Liquid Marketplace, and what it is it's a platform where you can buy fractional ownership for collectible cards. I don't know if there's any card collectors in here, but that's definitely something to look forward to. We're still in the beta testing, sorry.
Yeah.
But we are going to launch probably in the next 2 to 3 months. It's cool to get into that industry currently because Pokemon definitely blew up. There's a lot of sports cards that are worth like millions of dollars. I think the hockey sale, the latest card sold for like $3.5 million. So if you, your father, anyone you know has collectible cards, it's worth
baseball, football, basketball cards.
It's worth to look into their value because their value has gone exponentially bigger than they used to be. And this platform will allow for quick sales of those cards instead of you going to eBay and trying to auction it off and email somebody, a headache. Again, Capsule 003 will be dropping, hopefully July, fingers crossed. I'm really looking forward to making that more of a summer vibe because it's been sweaters for the last 2 capsules.
Yeah, you dropped the mad sweaters. Love to see some of them t-shirts for sure. I gotta keep a t-shirt on point.
So for this capsule, it was actually gonna be like sets for males and females, which is t-shirt and shorts. And I think Toronto, if we're outside, we should probably get one of those. I'm actually going to drop a link to Sean for anybody that's been a part of this, and it's going to provide you guys with the $20 off any of the merch that I'm going to be releasing.
Hey, why we roll with the Height and Chef family, because we go
I really appreciate you guys having me on here. So like, I really want to give you something back and be able to like help you guys out.
Love you, sis.
And love you too. And what else? Am I missing anything? There's another podcast that I'm actually working on. I don't know the date that it's coming out, but it's a sex podcast. It's called The Sweetest Taboo. That podcast is more about sex and the taboo topics of sex and just very interesting conversations that I think we're taught not to have. So again, we're trying to break those barriers. So that's going to be coming out. That's all I can think of currently.
And if someone wanted to get at you for like photography and stuff, is the link on your Instagram to be able to get at you and contact you like that?
So usually the way I like to do that, if you find me on Instagram, my Instagram is @alienya. I'm sure you can find me tagged on the Height and Chef profile. Absolutely. The way I like to do those is actually just hit me up and tell me your vision, and we can work out pricing. I like to work with people. I like to work with budgets and make sure that like we can bring your idea to life. and I don't usually take something on unless I feel like I can fulfill that vision that you bring to me. So if you need even like websites, logos, and stuff like that, we do that as well.
Flyers, anything.
Flyers, or if you just want advice for your business. Honestly, sometimes I feel like it's good to talk and bounce ideas off each other and kind of get the feel. If you're not sure where to go next, if you're part of this family, I will hook you up and just be able to have a conversation with you and see what we can do next.
Love is love. Yo, big things. Yo, if you don't know, people out there, go check out all of Alina's stuff. Alien Year. Go and check her out. She's got amazing stuff. Thank you so much for being
Thank
a
you
part
for
of
having
this
me.
evening.
I can't wait to have the food now.
Now you get to dive in.
Yes.
Remember, you got to try and remember which one is your favorite, and then send.
I'm gonna like review all of it. Don't you worry.
Sweet. Take pictures. Take pictures.
Make sure you vote.
Oh, I will. 100%.
Nice. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, big up to Alina. Thank you so much for joining us in the building. Alien You, big up. Amazing.
You guys are the best. Keep doing your thing.
Hey, yo, Pete Jackson. Nigga, you know what it is, nigga. Check this shit out. Yo, Carhartt jackets and Clarks, holding gold hammers, a bucket of coke in the boat, and it's organic kosher. With more notes than an octave, but dirty than Somalian water that's mad toxic. It's a cold case. When Irish hitmen bring me your face, with no body attached, for a low rate and cooling. Yeah, drawing castles in red sand. Then I finish it off with my left hand. Bottle of scotch in the bitch. You could call me that Dosaki nigga. Philip Petit on the wrist. Long arms,